it's a fact that, I mean, we've got to have rules, and I think it's there for image sake. You know what I mean? So that you know you don't appear to be lawless, but at the same time, because here it is, you're supposed to be enforcers of the law, but I think that but at the same time, they have this, what myself and another person we like to call professional courtesy, and the professional courtesies that are extended from one law enforcement officer to another, or from perhaps a judge to a law enforcement officer, or a law enforcement officer to a judge who he pulls over that might have been drinking. That's what that is. That's that professional courtesy, or the use of that, that privilege. And so it's just there for looks, but in the end, they look out for their own, because in the end, it's all about maintaining status quo, which is white supremacy patriarchy, period. The purpose of you guys, having that, going down there on Columbus Day, it's to raise awareness, but it's also it's about shaming, or, like, don't forget. I think that one of the most effective things that we've seen is to be able to influence by being a constant reminder. And we've effectively seen that from some of our Jewish family, that constantly show images of the Holocaust. They never forget. They constantly remind you of what was gone through historically, by their people, and they've done it so effectively that pretty much, you have to be very cautious when, having a legitimate criticism of some folks because of that faith, or it's just unfortunate that they're being rewarded for bad behavior, and you got a mayor who, we elected, that's supposed to represent the people, but it just seems that he's more so beholden to the police union, because he's not representing us when it comes to the contract negotiations. That's obvious, because the first thing and the most important thing that should have been done was to pretty much renegotiate the terms in regards to binding arbitration. So, see, it's sort of like this, where in order for law enforcement to be justified in, one, bringing in more officers, right now they want to bring in a record number of officers into the city, more than what we had when this city was, close to 1 million. And so therefore, but right now, when we were up close to 1 million in population, we had less officers. We had like 1,200 officers. They want to have a minimum of like 1,700 officers. And so, so think about that. But they're
trying to turn it to New York.
Right. And but also what they're doing is it's about unions. Now you're bringing up more union dues, or dues paying members, so that's more money for the union, and it's also bringing in just more power or influence, because it's more officers, more bodies, you understand? And basically the crime that they want to see happen justifies them being able to achieve that, and so they want that. It's a fact. Statistics.
So crime, you're saying, is like a product. It's like a marketed value. It's like capitalism.
It's a marketing tool. It's definite, and it's a byproduct. It's like, but what nobody's doing, everybody's looking at the effects, but they're not looking at the causes.
Exactly.
Let's look at the causes. We're looking at the symptoms, but we're not looking at what's causing the sickness. And it's a fact that that by the time kids reach third grade reading level, if they're not on third grade reading level, they found that 80% of those kids are going to have interactions with law enforcement where they, at one time or another, they're going to be incarcerated. So now, if you know this, then that means that you know that literacy is supposed to be one of the most important things. So that means the quality of education is the key.
Instead of getting an F every year on the Cleveland report card.
Exactly. So why are they putting more money or wanting to put more money into law enforcement while neglecting our schools? If you want to put a dent in crime, what you do is you better our education system so that basically as these people who are on the streets that, you know, are victims of the societal failures, as they age out, we're not going to have replacements for them. Then what you'll have is you will have a far less number of folks that are out there on the streets that, you know, are showing the symptoms of a neglectful, you know, society. And then you just got some honorary people, some bad people out there. But there'll be far less of them, you know what I mean, that so when folks get locked up, folks die off, age out, you know what I mean, we're not going to have just willing folks just to replace them. And I think that's the key. We got to start with the education. And, you know, it'd be great to go to year-round schools. But like, you know, BLM Cleveland has written up a plan in regards to that. We've presented it to a couple of, with facts, with stats, with studies. We've presented it to some members of city council, and, you know, they haven't gotten back to us. I don't know that it's, you know.
Okay, thank you.